Hello, everybody, if you can hear me. We're just waiting just a second to get loaded up here. All right, we are good to go. Let me just hop over into our Discord channel to make sure everyone knows that I've gone live. Let me just send out the link here real quick and we will get rolling. Hopefully I can get on and edit this at some point so this goes away. All right. And we are live. Welcome everybody to the monthly lighting challenge. We are live. Trying to do multiple things at once. All right. Welcome everybody to the announcement of the monthly lighting challenge winner. So let me go ahead and hop over into here into Photoshop and we will go ahead and take a look at all the submissions. So we've got Aaron, we've got Annabelle. Oh, is that jumping around? We've got Clarissa, Forrest, Guy Tiero, Isabel, Jen, Jordan. Oh, that's Jordan's old one. Jordan's new one. Juan Lopez, Kat, Mindy, Nigel, Tyler, and Yang. Yang always gets hosed because his first name starts with the Y. So I'm going to announce the winner. I also want to make sure everyone knows that we have a new lighting challenge going on right now. We've got our sushi party. And this sushi party is basically what we did was we created a larger scene and we wanted to find a way to, let's see, pool. We wanted to find a way to create a larger scene that kind of helped identify all of the, that helped to create like little vignetted scenes, like little scenes throughout throughout the overall scene that we can kind of zoom in and take a look at little micro ideas and really get a chance to play around with some more stories and really kind of help set the mood and tell what's going on. The one major difference between this lighting challenge than previous ones is with COVID, with the holidays, we wanted to give you a little bit of extra time. So we are going to be extending the deadline from December 31st to January 31st. Is that right? Yeah, both have 31 days. And so, yeah, so we look forward to that. And then starting back again in February, we will have one challenge per month. But we wanted to make sure to give you guys the time in this space to enjoy the holidays safely, with or without family, however you're doing it. And then make sure to come back in January stronger and better and be able to work on this project. Okay, so without much further ado, let's get into announcing the winner. And then we are going to, I'll go through each one of these and talk a little bit about the positives of what you guys have created here. So I want to announce the winner. And the winner for this month's lighting challenge is Annabelle. Annabelle, you have done some incredible work on this project. I absolutely love the detail that you've gotten into the skin, the shaping going across here. Right now I'm just looking at the sunny one, the original one that you created. Like good shaping across the baskets, good shaping across the flowers. Flowers are so difficult. They are translucent. You have to get shaping on them. You have to maintain their color without letting them get too saturated. You have to make sure to get that transmission without making them blown out and losing all shadow. You've done a brilliant job of balancing all of that. And just like you can feel the texture of your scene. You can feel the texture of the satin on our garments. You can feel the texture of everything across the scene, like just feeling the way that things are kind of falling across here, the shaping on the arm here, like just all the detail in here. And then you transport it all and you upped your game by also putting it in a second shot by putting in, maintaining the same good shaping and doing something very difficult, which is just getting warm skin tone to both be believably in a cool environment while maintaining its hero color. You've got some nice glowiness on the flowers. You've got the reflections in the eyes. The background is balanced nicely. These are just two very strong, very solid images and exactly what we're looking for when we're talking about strong character lighting. You also, another thing, super subtle, but you created a line across here. You created a shadow line across here and you really helped zero us in because it's so easy on this more vertical frame to allow the eye to extend up and out of the frame, but you really kind of help center this in. And what we find when we get to the center is really, really valuable and a really strong payoff. So it's a well-deserved win. I'm very excited to welcome you into the lighting challenge champion pool. I will add a new tag for you on Discord, and just a really beautiful job. So I want to go through some of the other ones. I will also be keeping my eye on the chat window here in YouTube. So if anybody has any questions about anything that I'm mentioning, or if you want to give a shout out and say congratulations to Annabelle, now is the time to do it. So yeah, just go and pop it in the chat window over there. Okay, so let's get into more images. So first off, we've got, we're gonna go back to front. Sorry, Aaron. Okay, Yang, look at, like, I love the glowiness and the brightness of the environment. It's absolutely beautiful. My body temperature just went up 3 degrees just looking at this scene. You feel the warmth, you feel the moisture in the air, you feel the light direction, and you've done some really subtle things by like making the buildings like step back into space this way and creating one back there. You feel this is an extended world by having these stairs extend up this way and the wall going down that way. You've built a larger space and allowed my brain to continue putting an environment back there, even though my eye doesn't see it. There's some really great subtle things going on here. These little light hits that kind of emphasize each one of these stairs is subtle, but really, really nice. The way that even though the bright light is over here, you're doing a really nice job of creating a strong bounce fill up underneath her, and really kind of filling in some of those areas as well. Overall, it's a really, really strong image. You've got, and again, like really nice bounce lighting happening up underneath this archway. A few areas that can be improved upon would be like some of these flowers. The flowers back here aren't quite perfectly balanced. Like some of them, like these, are very glowy, and that there's just that bright saturated feel. And then these in here are looking a little dingy, a little dark in their shadows, a little like less saturated. So finding that proper balance within them will be really important. I say that knowing how difficult that is, having done that many times. And same thing with these flowers here in the middle. You got good translucence through some of them that are glowing, but I think some of these in the middle are getting a little dingy. But you've got good shaping. You've got your bones there. It's just a matter of really applying some polish and really getting in there and adjusting the finer elements of this. Because things like the flowers will totally matter based on the exact lighting scenario that you're doing. It's not always going to be the same. So just getting in there and fiddling with that and taking the time to make sure that each individual component is working in harmony with all the other ones to make a really strong, cohesive piece. But the structure is there. You've got some really, really, really brilliant stuff. All right, Tyler. So I love the feeling of this. I love the light scraping across from right to left on it. You've got the basis and the positions of good shaping across the character. It's just the value on her face is starting to it's a little contrasty in that it's kind of binary, where it's either hit by sunlight or it isn't, and there's like a little bit of a hard line that kind of cuts around here. Looking back at Annabelle's, you can see that there's a lot of value shift. You know, you've got like this specular highlight that's a little bit brighter, you know, some values in here that are a little bit less, and then we kind of roll off into the shadows there, where when we're looking at this render, we don't see those that big of a difference. Like the value in here is kind of the same as it is over here, is the same as it is up in here, and then the areas that are not that are just kind of like this value, right? And so we want to create more of a roll off. Now, I love you've got some bright hits going on back here and rolling it off as we go into the shadow. The bright hit's a little bit strong. It's just because it gets so white in here that it kind of blows out without maintaining any sort of detail, which isn't terrible. But it you know, there are situations where that will really help. But In this particular case, I think that is too overexposed for that each region the way it would be. Also, your background wall feels a little low res. Like when I look at it here against, like if I just kind of focus in this region here, looking against the flowers look nice and rich while the wall feels kind of pixelated. So just make sure to look into that. And yeah, so those would be the biggest ones, getting more fall off across the character, kind of lessening the brightness here, getting a higher quality on the background. Also, like, I feel a lot of warmth on her, but the background feels very purple. I want to kind of feel that warmth a little more uniformly across the entire image. Nigel. So yes, so we talked a little bit about this. I think this is looking great. I love the extra bounce light you've got on the bowls here. Flowers are looking great. I think it's all there. It's just a matter of getting more detail in the skin tone, getting some more specularity in the skin tone. Maybe a little bit darker on this side, just to make it a little bit more dramatic overall. But like I said, we worked through this one a lot. I think this has come a long way, and I think that you're at a really, really good place with it. So I don't want to do that too. I don't want to make you go chasing your tail anymore, because I really do feel like we've come to a good spot on this guy. So Mindy, this one looks great too. I love the concept. You had some good Coco reference from this. I love the fall off of the light going across this back wall. Her skin tone is feeling a little, like she feels a little strong on the reds. I would almost pull back on the reds just a touch on her, just to kind of allow her to feel fallen into that nighttime look a little bit, but like maintaining that hero color. That's what I was talking about with Annabelle's, just how difficult it is to find that proper balance. I like that we see we're seeing this glowy element in her eyes. And then you've softened these shadows, which is really nice, but it's, like in here, these are still pretty sharp. It's just, the thing is like, I'm questioning with those shadows down there, I'm questioning what the light source is, because it almost feels like there's multiple, like these are getting glowy enough where they are almost emanating light. This character is clearly outputting light, but then it almost feels like there's some on the wall, and I can't tell if what's on the wall is coming from her, because if it's coming from her, like she is a very, very large light source, like twice the size of the woman sitting on the ground, but her shadow is very sharp around there, like right around here. And so that doesn't sync up to me. This shadow makes it feel like there's a smaller light here on the wall that's shining down, but I'm not seeing enough to kind of sell me that's the case. So it's kind of like falling in between a couple areas. You've also got some brighter elements here on the flowers, which are a little distracting. They're a little bit high contrast. And I would just kind of take those down, make sure they're not quite getting quite that hot. Again, that's that balancing the flowers, which is so tricky. But that being said, this is a really nice image. You are well on your way. Just some minor modifications, and you are good to go. So Kat, we worked on this one a lot. This is a technical struggle for you working in Blender without any ray trace abilities, but it's been, and we know a new computer is on the way, but this is a really nice opportunity for you to test some ideas, for us to sit down and talk about light position, for us to talk about a few other things, how to get a character to read off from a background, how to create shaping, specularity in the character, that kind of thing. And just kind of a general approach, because I know you're a photographer, transitioning that photographic knowledge into the CG world has been really great. Now, so I think that the work that we've done has allowed us to lay a foundation that you're really going to build on moving forward. So really great job there. Mr. Lopez, always strong submissions. Again, this is just kind of like classically good character lighting. It's a tough challenge with the more top-down lighting, but it's really, really strong. Again, just like these subtle bits of specularity in the skin, the way that we're able to get light kind of shining down and rolling beneath her cheeks. You're very, very aware of all of her, of her like hero shape, of all of her attributes. I think her hair is looking really good. You're getting slight, a couple of the follicles are getting bright white. And again, lighting any character that's white is very difficult, or any object that's pure white is very difficult. So getting just that, like just that touch of brightness in there, but allowing more shaping. So for those that I was saying that, like, you know, you don't want it to go too bright, a little bit, it's okay. Like this is a good example of just like a little bit of brightness is really good. I do think, I also love the kind of like the purpley tone of the surroundings. I do think you can go darker in those, like as we get a little closer to the edge on both sides. I feel like you can push the vignetting feel a little bit harder. And then you really want to watch out for like this region here. These flowers are a little gray, a little dingy. You may just want to add a little more color, a little more light, maybe even just like a little more gamma if you can isolate them with the crypto mat. But I would say that would be the look of your flowers in the shadow, I think, can be boosted just a little bit. I think that would probably be the biggest one, because I think your character lighting is great. The idings, it's funny. Let me look at this for a second, because I read the key light as being almost behind her, but looking at the iding position, it's almost like the key light is coming in from this way. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would almost want the idings to be on the other side, but I could be convinced otherwise on that one. And then for her garments, I think you can push the satininess of them a little bit more. I think we can get some more sheen on that. But structure's there. Your shaping is always there. You are consistently a very sound lighter that creates really strong work. All right, so this is Jordan. So I brought up his original just to show you guys that this is a cool thing that some of our students were doing, was showing where they started with the project and where they ended up. And I think it's really important to identify your progress, and so you can see your own personal growth on things. So yeah, her skin tone's looking a lot better, getting good shaping rolling across here. Her dark values are lighting off over this lighter background. The biggest thing I want you to work on is her eyes. Her eyes are a little, because as the viewer, I want to go right there and I want to make a connection to her through her eyes. But the way that they're lit, the way that they're looking right now, it's kind of hindering that. So I want to, it's hard at this angle too, because she's looking up away from the camera. But I don't want to see them get that bright. And I want to see a little roll off in there. And then I want to see a little iding here. I want to see separation between the iris, pupil, and sclera. And really, I just want to feel, let's go back to Annabelle's again. Like, I want to feel this connection to the eyes, that even though she's looking up and off here to the side, the values in here are more normalized. I can see distinctly the different shapes. And it's not getting too contrasty, too lost in there, too many brights. Yeah, I think that would be the biggest one. And then watch out for some of these bright hits on the eyebrows are a little bit too much. It's just because they're low res too. Like they feel very pixelated. If we saw them at a higher resolution, it might make a difference there. And yeah, and then getting some more these flowers in here just kind of feel like part of the plant. I want to feel their hero color a little bit stronger. And then watch out for the super brights on these plants there too. All right, Jen. Yeah. So again, I talked about this in the critique the other day. So I'll just kind of bullet point them. Really good job of getting the focus in on the center, but the major thing is I just want to darken around here on the outside a little bit more to really kind of focus this in here in the middle. You could possibly, I mentioned this too, you could possibly desaturate the sky a little bit. The sky's a little super saturated. And then if you could find a little more specularity in the skin, because again, these light sources they collectively make a very broad light in the diffuse, but I think you can get away with adding some smaller specular lights that kind of just pick up some of the detail of her skin tone. And then watch, like, I love how the material on the inlays on the garment on her head are picking up, but they're getting a little bit too bright. So I would just tone those down a little bit. And then if you can increase the brightness on these flowers, I think that'll help too. All right, Isabel. Actually, it might be Isabella. I don't know if your last name begins with an A or if you're, I'm going to go with Isabel because I think that's what your name is. I apologize if I got that wrong. So like I'm stepping back from this because one thing about the framing you want to watch out for is you want to be very careful not to get this close between the top of her head and the top of the frame. It just kind of creates, it's like a visual energy. Like when two lines start to converge together in art, like there's kind of an energy that's formed there, and you just want to watch out for that. So I think that you're getting some good basics. I think that there's good shaping coming across here. You want to watch, and you've done a good job of kind of hiding it, of getting away from it, but you want to watch the shadow from this on her face. You don't want to kind of, it's fine if it's down here, but I kind of just want to see the tip of the nose to hit the key light a little bit. Some of the flowers and things down here are they're a little desaturated. They could use a little more pop. They could use a little more life, a little more energy. But I do like that you're using the alleyway as the background. I think your colors are pretty good, except for it's just like overall it feels like it could be a little warmer. Like it just feels a little too magenta-y. And I want it, like if it's like a bright sunny afternoon day, I would want it, even if it's like more sunsetty and we're kind of going in this realm, I want it to feel a little less purple, blue purple, and a little more in the warm tones there. So I'm just going to leave that. And then watch out for for this ground, you want to add a little bit of a bump or a displacement, because now that we're a little lower and we're seeing it at an angle, we're kind of fully aware of the fact that it's just like a flat texture on a plane. So you may just want to add a little bump in there. And then don't be like, you've done a really good job of flanking off and creating some shadow back here, but it would be really nice to get maybe some of this stuff over here to fall into partial shadow to really kind of keep our eye towards the center here and allowing, some shadow to creep in that way, I think would really help a lot. But yeah, it's a great start. It's just a matter of building to the next point. All right, Gaitiero. Again, good shaping. Her eyes seem a little crazed and like they're little perfectly blue. And we're also, anytime that you see more of the whites of the eyes, especially the eye whites around, like kind of around this, it makes them feel a little bit terrified. Like the way that the iris is, like we're only kind of seeing the whites in here and not up above or below. It makes a big difference. The other big thing of yours is that it feels pretty low res. It feels, I mean, and I'm not gonna, because I work in low res for daily reviews anyway, but for like these final submissions, it would be great if you could possibly, and I know that computing can be hard on this stuff, just really get some good sampling, because there is a lot of noise in here. And it's just kind of, and again, like the noise will make it feel a little bit dirtier, a little dingier. So really upping the resolution on the still frame, either in the image size or in the samples or both, to make it looking nice and clean. In terms of the color, her skin is feeling a little bit on the magenta side. Again, let's see if we can balance this. Just want to pull it back a little bit more into here. I feel like something like this for her skin tone, maybe, and that might even be a little bit bright. I want to make sure to really kind of maintain her darker skin tones a little bit. Maybe something a little bit more along these lines. Would be, because like she feels a little bit washed out there in the brighter areas. Yeah, and then again in the flowers, like I said, you really just want to spend a little more time. These brights are a little too bright. These darks in here are a little too dark. You want to, a really good way of handling that is you can add, you can lift the shadows on the light. You can have a light that's specifically linked to the flowers and just add and increase the shadow limit, the darkest shadow points, and that way it'll kind of lift it up. I know it's a little bit artificial, but it'll help fake some of that translucency without having to up your raise so much that it'll like kill your render times. But that could be one way of doing that, to really get the brighter elements of those interior bits of the flower, like down by the core of the flower. And then with her, the last thing is that there's a lot of like specularity and stuff on this side of the shawl, and also like on the back side of her. With the key light coming in from the screen right side, I would like for a little bit more darkness on that screen left side to kind of create a stronger key to fill relationship between those two sides. So Forest, yes. So we took a look at this. Love the warmth that's kind of embracing everything. The flowers are looking really great. I just think it's a matter of her skin tone. Could use a little bit of balancing. Just a little bit less saturation too. Yeah, it's more like in the brighter parts, like once her, I'm always a big fan of the brighter elements reaching more towards a white versus like a clipping out at a color, because then it could always be a little bit janky. Something more along those lines. But yeah, everything else is in place. I think your flowers look really great. You're getting good shaping across all of these back here. They're not getting too dark. They're not getting too bright. These flowers in the foreground are a little bit on the flat side, but I think that's totally fine because they're just meant to be framing elements. You're getting good satin features across her garments, and everything else is there. I just think we just need to dial in the skin and her look on her face just a little bit more. Clarissa, beautiful job matching your reference. Beautiful job building the environment around it. Again, when I first saw this, I thought that you just like painted Mama Coco out of the original and put, but you actually kind of rebuilt this because they're not the same. The flowers are not the same. The door handle is not the same. And I think that you've done a really overall brilliant job of matching the reference. But I think that for like this shot in this film is it's just one of many shots in the sequence. And I really do think that you as we move forward, let's find some more like I think it's just like as we look at this in isolation, it's just not quite as dramatic. It's not quite as punchy. It's not quite telling the full story of if we're just looking at this character without the reference. So I think that we can really push ourselves to tell a much stronger tale in our lighting, because your fundamentals are there, right? Your shaping is there. You're directing the viewer's eye. You clearly have a great eye and the ability to match reference. Now let's push your artistic skills further to really to truly try and create a work of art with these stills, and you've got all the potential in the world. So I have no doubt that you'll get there. So really great job, Clarissa. Ashley, again, everything's balanced. Everything's looking really great. I think we've come so far with this one. Flowers are falling into place nicely. Her skin's falling into place nicely. There's a lot of tones in there. The only thing, like I said, in the one critique is just getting some more warmth in the bounces in here. But the structure is all there. Everything's in place. It's just getting that bounce in there to get a little more detail up underneath her to kind of tie her into the space of this idea of being in a warm, sunny day and bounce light all around. All right. Arsicho. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive me again if I'm not. So this is looking great. Like this is a cool start. Again, good shaping. The lights are in good position. We're just missing the environment. I'm missing context a little bit, and that will really help tell the tale. In terms of lighting, from what we're seeing here, it's just that I think the positions are good, but we can really, really push for things to be brighter. In terms of some of these values, like this is just cranking around values in Photoshop, but like you can push a lot. If we're going to keep our skin tone on the darker side, let's really push a lot more colored specularity into the skin tone, like that only emits specular highlights to really get that shaping coming across the head, coming across the cheek, and coming across here. just to kind of help push that in there, because if we try and push too much diffuse light in the way that I just did with the increasing all this value, we kind of lose that darker hero color. Same thing too, just a little bit of yellow in her skin tones as well. You want to kind of pull that out just a touch. Do you see that there? A little less yellow. Actually, it looks like a little bit too much yellow overall in the scene, because I was just focusing on the skin, and as I pulled it out of here, that's looking a little bit better. But again, that's without context, you know, like without a surrounding space, there might be like a bunch of yellow walls around her or something, and that would make more sense within that. Because one of the things that we teach, and one of the things that I've learned growing in this industry, is you never want to light a character over black, because it can really give you a false sense of A, how bright they are, B, the color, and C, if you're having any edge issues. Because it could look like, you know, it could look like here that everything looks really nice along this edge, but really the edge is actually like down here, and you've got a bunch of black pixels at the base of the object. So just something to be aware of there. All right, lastly, we've got Aaron. Again, this looks great. I love all the progress that we made on this, the shaping on the environment, the shaping on the character, the specular on the plants on the foregrounds. It's just a matter of Annabelle was able to get a little more detail and more shaping, a little more richness in the skin tones as we're coming along here. And if we can get to that point, then I think that you're in great shape too. I mean, you've got some really great stuff. I love this little bit of subsurface scattering happening on the tips of her nose. And in terms of the flowers, they're all looking pretty good. Yeah, just a little dinginess in here. But other than that, it's all looking really, really well. So again, this isn't for many of these, you guys have done a brilliant job, and to pick a winner is nearly impossible, but because all of the work is so strong. So let's go ahead and hop on into the chat window just to see if there's anything that we are missing there. Any questions? Whoa, lots of congratulations. 3 degrees. Yeah. All right. Question. Is it important for lighting artists to be familiar with digital painting? Few of my favorite lighting artists like Jeremy Vickery and Charu Clark have amazing grasp of digital painting. It helps. Is it necessary? I mean, is it 100% necessary? No. But it's certainly the painting. Digital lighting is very similar to painting in my head. It's very much about understanding how light and dark values work within a space, because digital painting and CG, you're not stuck by the limitations of the physical world. You are able to manipulate things in any way that you want. So necessary? No. Is it helpful? Yes. Especially if, again, you're understanding composition, color balance, shaping, all that stuff. So if there is anything that I give people the advice to study, and this is coming from someone who was a photographer, I think painting is the best way to go. And I also encourage people to get into traditional painting too, because like mixing the paints matters, understanding the materials matters, and all that stuff. And then follow-up question, does it help lighting artists to express their idea of lighting a scene before working on it? Yeah. I think it's you don't need to know the exact lighting, you just need to know your goals. And that's why we push hard on finding reference images, because it helps you establish that. So it's like, you have to ask yourself, so who just did this? Jordan in our class just did this, where he sent me a list of, where he asked himself the who, what, where, why, when of his scene, right? Like, what am I trying to get my audience to look at? What is the most important element of the scene? And how am I going to do that? How am I going to get the character to pop off the background by making them light over dark? Are they going to be warm over cool? Is it, are they going to be simple shapes over complex shapes? What am I doing to get the audience there? And why am I lighting it this way? Why am I positioning these lights here? Why am I doing these things? Are they helping to tell the story? And you're going to kind of only get to that point if you conceptualize it a little bit ahead of time. Now, do you want to conceptualize it ahead of time and then like follow that to the letter of the law throughout the process? No, things will change and things will come up as you go on. But that's a really good idea to do there. Yes, and Jared Leto eyes is a serious condition that affects tens of men across the country, and something that we should be very concerned about, Diana. That is a very good point. And other question, I missed this. Is this scene part of the asset library? Yep. Yeah, so that's a great question. Great way to finish this off. So yes, So this lighting challenge, all the lighting challenges are part of our asset library. You pay one fee one time, and you will forever have access to all of our lighting challenges. As of right now, I think this is this the 16th? I think we just launched lighting challenge number 17. So for $99, you get 17 existing scenes, full scenes, plus some other non-lighting challenge work. And you get access to all of our future lighting challenges, because as we get more, the price goes up and we have to pay more people more money. So we have to fundraise that somewhere. All right. And last question. Kunal asks, do most of the time lighting artists work as per their DOP vision? Do we actually get the freedom to work on a scene? Yeah. I mean, like, so I, in animated films, you know, you work at a big company, there's an art department, they design color keys. They come up with some ideas, but, and they show you the direction that they want to go. But the way that something is painted in 2D space isn't always the way it's communicated in 3D space. It's a great way, again, like I said, talking about reference, is a great way to identify, it's a great way to identify what the goals are. But yeah, totally. And like, there have been countless times when I'll work, you know, the art director will give me the kickoff. And the director will give the kickoff. I'll go and work on it. I will deliver exactly what they're asking for, but then also bring up, I always like to give people exactly what they ask for, and then bring up an alternate version of if there's something that I want to try. If there's like, you know, if I want to try a flashing off camera street lamp, or like, you know, like a light kind of coming in the scene to kind of, because I'm like, oh, this is the emotion of the scene. I do think that this lighting element will help. Yeah, they're always open to that. Sometimes they tell me the idea is terrible, and they never are mean like that. But I can safely say that there are many elements that exist in animated films that would not have been there had I not had it been a different artist that lit it, because my vision came through in my work, and that I added some elements that would not have been there. Yeah, so it's definitely, you're not a monkey banging a keyboard just making something match. You are contributing artistically to the final look and feel of the film. Okay, super last question, and then I gotta get going. Also, how much look development impact our lighting? So, I mean, look development is all part of it. Oh, you're very welcome. Sorry, you just threw in a thank you for answering my questions. Yeah, no, ask away. I'm happy to talk. I can talk about this all day. So in terms of look development, yeah, like you're actively part of that look development process. You know, like you are, whether it's a character. So like lots of times in films, you'll build a character and then you kind of take it through, like you'll do a calisthenic test on the character to test the rig and the animation. Then you push it through the pipeline to test the materials, and then you light it to test the lighting. And in that process, you also can give constructive feedback and on how a character might look better. There are things like, oh, this character has eyeglasses or big bushy eyebrows. Like, here's how we want the shadow cast from the eyebrows onto the face. This is, you know, we've got glasses on a character. It's kind of a cartoony look. Do we want a hard line shadow from those glasses? Do we want it to be soft, or do we want there to be no shadow at all? We'll do some development on that. Additionally, there's lots of look dev things to do on scenes that have objects that are lit themselves, things like cars with headlights, things like, you know, lots of like flying drones or robots or street lamps or neon signs. You're involved in the look development of all that stuff too. So it's a big part of it. So yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have, but I'm really excited. And once again, congratulations to Annabelle for this beautiful piece. I'm really excited to see what you guys do for the next challenge. If I don't talk to you again before the holidays, I hope you all have a very lovely holiday. I know it's a crazy year. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm looking forward to see the beautiful work that you make. And yeah, let's do it. All right. Happy lighting, everyone.